Friday, September 8th. And I'm going to give you a little bit of the story. If you hadn't known, I joined a gym a few weeks ago. And I'm trying to work on myself. I am egg-shaped. If you've ever seen the picture of the dog described as men in their 50s in skinny jeans, the little pug, that's the shape of my body. No joke, that's the shape of my body. So I'm a guy that goes into the gym, middle-aged man, and I ask for a spot. When I'm bench pressing, and this is a bit of a humble brag, no joke, 85 pounds. That's a good description of my life right now going to the gym. 85 pound. Humility, judgment coming from all around these, young kids who are working out. I go on the ab machine and I'm sitting there and they're on fire. Again, no judgment zone. There's plenty of judgment there, but that's my life. What are we going to go over today? We're going to go over the markets. It's been crazy because we will talk about the S&P ads. I'll give you a little story on that one. We'll talk about alpha picks because I know I'm pushing this one, but the reality is you should be buying alpha picks right now, the portfolio, as we head into these rate cuts. I like it as we head into rate cuts and the market is expected to outperform. We will go over a stock that Stephanie Link bought on Friday, and I will show you from start to finish why I like it, what I did with it. Did I buy it? I don't know. We will talk about a stock that is up over 100%. On Friday, I think it was 93% this morning. It's up like 40%. We'll talk about that one. Some opportunities and the Catalyst Watch and the plan for the week. But let's start. On Friday. Okay, on Friday, markets were going along. I was kind of hanging out. I was sitting there, I'd gotten done with the newsletter. And I said, I've been kind of dilly-dallying on Robinhood. So I took a look. And I said, you know what? Let me look at it. Let me look at the 5-minute chart because it's now down around $97. We saw this this is the 5-minute chart. Then this is Friday. We saw this dip down to as low as, let's see, $97. And it was at 98 when I said, you know what? I kind of like this. I kind of like the $98. It's under 100. The 50-day on the 5-minute turned around. I said, I'm going to take a shot on this one. Okay? I took a shot. Robinhood, AppLovin, both added to the S&P. And I did this, by the way. I did this for the paid newsletter subscribers. This is timestamped at 11:42. 11:42. Okay, I bought it around 11 o'clock. We can take a look. It was about $98. It was just right there. What happened? Well, I saw this death cross on here, but weekly, we are still super strong. 4 hour, you didn't have a buy, but it's damn close. And then I read a tweet that said, hey, maybe this gets added to the S&P 500. I was actually on the phone with my TrendSpider rep, and he said, no, I think it's going to be MicroStrategy. I said, I'm going to take my chances with Hood. Took the risk. I got the reward. I shared it with the community right here. I shared it. So again, if you're a paid subscriber to the newsletter, understand that sometimes I put things in this chat. You can set up alerts and I put them in the chat and I say, hey, I'm going to go at that. Now, where is it right now? Let's first go over who got added. It was AppLovin and Hood. So I'm essentially double dipping. I gave this to everyone last week where they should have bought AppLovin because I brought it up as an alpha pick and I said it's an opportunity to get in before they go to all-time highs again. And I went over this. I said, boom, it is breaking out. Well, AppLovin in the pre-market is at 537 and that is an all-time high. So again, I double dipped a little bit. But it wasn't from anything that I'm hiding in this podcast, anything that I'm hiding from the newsletter, anything that I'm putting behind a paywall. Because I want everybody to know that I've gone over these many, many times. You take the risk, you get the reward. Now, understand, the past 4 or 5 that have been added to the S&P, like Trading Desk, like Block, they are down since they were added to the S&P. So what's the plan? I know my plan. Do you know yours? That's the case. I'm not going to give you every plan that I do, every trade that I do, but it's just an example of, hey, you take the risk, you get the reward. Now, here's a list. Goldman Sachs put out their top 15 companies eligible for the S&P 500. There are 11 companies left. Bookmark this. Bookmark this. Because who's next? Is it Vertiv? Is it Viva? Is it Carvana? Is it Ares Management? Is it Market Group? Is it First Citizens Bank Shares? Is it SoFi or Toast, which I go over quite a bit? Or is it Cheniere Energy? So when they get there added, they basically can pump up for a day or two, and then it comes back down to reality. So you don't need alpha picks. You don't need to know that it's a strong buy in the quant. You don't need to know that Hood and AppLovin. You don't need to know that it's a hold in the quant right now, but it was a strong buy. Just a reminder, the Alpha Picks portfolio, the quant, and the Daily Stock Pick podcast newsletter, meaning me, signals a buy last week. Why? If you're not in this, why? It's got to do with risk tolerance. And I'm not shaming anybody out there. I'm not saying you should have been in on this, but the signals were there. And I would tell you, if you didn't take the trade and you regret it now, go and journal it. That's the simple fact that I can teach you. Go and journal it. Why? Because if you take the time to journal it right now, and then 6 months, 2 years, 3 years, you've written it down. There is muscle memory in actually writing it down. Whether you type it, whether you handwrite it, whether you put it in Apple Notes, whatever you do. Okay? My opinion means nothing if you didn't take the risk. I took the risk. I've been talking about it forever. The question I had was, is Hood the right place for my money? Or should I just put it into AppLovin? Which one? I mean, I had a feeling about both of them, but I decided, you know what? I'm going to diversify a little. I've been wanting Hood. It's up 8% in pre-market. But if you didn't take this, the biggest lesson you can do is journal. And it's not just journaling about the trades you take. It's about journaling the ones you miss as well. I would argue here, the MACD reset under the oscillator. The RSI super down low. I went over all of this. 4 different reasons. The stock is under 100. I've been saying that. It's been setting up this way for a few weeks. I like the price action. The weekly RSI seems to be in a decent position. The Bollinger Bands are starting to contract. The S&P announces some new entrants tonight, which would be a catalyst. And so you can see, weekly, we're still stretched. But the RSI is down at 64. It's kind of in a no man's land. Now, do I expect this one to continue up? I don't know. I'm still going to look at my journal and say, hey, what profit did I want from this? So journaling, it takes time, but it's a good opportunity to write things down. And if you just bookmark this, and then on the next about rebalancing of the S&P, maybe Toast, maybe SoFi, maybe those 2 ones, maybe it's Carvana, maybe it's Vertiv, maybe it's none of these. So again, whatever you want to do, that's your thing, but have a system in place. And if you're regretting not buying, again, journal why you're regretting not buying, because all the signals were out there. They were out there. Now, this is Alpha Picks. This is where I got AppLovin. They added AppLovin in November 2023. So, again, this is such a great weekly recap that they do. Every Friday, this comes out, and they're starting to focus more on their actual picks. And so the Alpha Picks portfolio review on Friday, you can see since inception, 227 versus 71%. The portfolio has experienced solid gains over the past 2 weeks, even as the broader market sentiment has remained risk. Recent U.S. economic data releases have been negative impacts. However, equity markets still found support in corporate earnings. Alpha Picks wrapped up an exceptional earnings season with 32 out of 36 stocks beating estimates, outperforming the S&P 500's 81% beat. The performance marks the portfolio's 11th consecutive quarter outperforming the S&P. A standout winner? Credo, which surged 12% in pre-market on Thursday, smashing expectations. Again, they go over specifics in the portfolio. How can you get alpha picks? Well, you go over here. Everything's on Linktree, linktr.de/daily stock pick. You can get alpha picks by itself. That's the fourth link. And you can, again, what is alpha picks? It's 2 data-driven stocks per month. So you get one on the 1st, one on the 15th. You get the entire explanation why they picked it, and you get alerts when to sell. That's the key. I steer people towards the bundle. Why? Because you can find other stocks. Like I found Talon Energy, TLN. Go and look at the year to date on Talon Energy. Like I found I Am Gold, IAG. Go look at the ones. Those were simply found by going down to the top stocks list. Today's top stocks, COMM. I own a lot of this, a lot of that one. So again, you want to do your research, you can do it. But I did want to share every Friday that Alpha Picks recap comes out. It was great. Now let's talk about AVGO, because that one went nuts on Friday after reporting earnings. This is one that I owned and I sold at $170. It's around $350 right now. It went crazy. Let's look at the chart real quick to see exactly what happened, because the earnings were spectacular. They were fantastic. And you'll see in the after hours, when on Thursday, when the earnings were announced on Thursday, you can see in the after hours, it started going up and it continued. Okay. But then it pulled back and it was crazy. And we closed at, let's see, 340 today. You're at 340. You're up 1.56%. You've continued it a little bit. But when you look at the weekly chart, you can see we are significantly stretched. You haven't been stretched this much on the MACD or the RSI in quite a long time, if ever. And you can see I was identifying 253 as the support. That was just wrong. If we saw a pullback to 253, my ass would be loading into this one. Now, was it crazy? Probably not. This is Daniel Newman for Futuro. I'm getting a ton of messages why AVGO is rising, NVDA is not. That was the divergence on Friday. In 2 images with XPU, they have different chips. Understand, Broadcom are custom chips. So when Apple does a chip, they do it on Broadcom. When Google does a chip, they do it on Broadcom. And that threatens NVIDIA chips. But there's upside for both. They see upside for NVIDIA, and they see Broadcom is getting the tailwind of its growth acceleration in custom AI chips. So it's not a winner take all. It's not like NVIDIA won't grow. It's not like AMD won't grow. And you're starting to see that in the market make its way through the press. I continue to say, if you want a large grower, start looking at AMD. Start finding an entry on AMD. Maybe you want the 4-hour algorithm because it makes you about as much as buy and hold. You can see it on your screen. 44% versus 48%. Okay? It's got 28 positions over 24 months. Don't you wish you had this 79% gain from April 23rd all the way to August 20th? That's a fantastic gain in the 4-hour algorithm. And it almost beats buy and hold. Again, same kind of difference. It just takes the risk out of it. It takes emotion out of it. And be aware that Broadcom triggered the same bearish capitulation signal that called the last 6 tops. And this is TrendSpider. You can add this is the capitulation finder. And it's weekly candles. So it's not like you're trading it. But again, if you hold Broadcom, there might be an opportunity that this is the top. And this is a weekly chart. You can see this called it 23% down, 11% down, 9%, 25%, 45% down. So take a look at some of your charts. If Broadcom looks stretched to you, start taking appropriate action. That's all I would say. Now, I want to look over a stock that Stephanie Link bought. I was watching CNBC, and Stephanie Link is an investor that I love, and I think she's fantastic. She explains everything to a T. Her elevator pitches, you can learn a lot from just listening to her. And one she mentioned was Capital One Financial. She bought a bunch of it on Friday, and she said, you know what? I like this stock, blah, blah, blah. She went over some of the numbers. I like it. So I said, you know what? I hear her numbers. I understand she bought a bunch of it. She likes it. She thinks it's got a good move going forward. They just bought Discovery Financial. So I said, let me do my research. First thing I go to, Seeking Alpha. I look at the quant. Took me 30 seconds. It's a strong buy. I say, ooh, I like that. But the valuation is flashing red with a D. Okay? Let's just look at the D. What's the D? Well, it's probably this PE gap going forward at 112. It may be expensive. The dividend yield, it's less than the other banks. So it might be bad, but I don't exactly know what that means. Okay? So I go to analyze with AI and I say, let's go and look at the quant. Valuation is mixed. It's got a forward PE of 12, slightly above the sector median, indicating some overpricing. However, its price to cash flow is 7, lower than the sector's 10. So Stephanie might be right. The valuation might be appropriate. The key point is all the rest are A's, and even the revisions, 15 upward revisions and 14 upward revenue revisions compared to minimal downward revisions. That suggests analysts are optimistic about Capital One's future performance. And again, you can read the positives from the Seeking Alpha and the concerns from Seeking Alpha analysts. Then I go over here and I say, whoa, that's fine. Maybe it's just, been a strong buy forever. No, it was a strong buy here at 221. It's trading at 222 right now. You can see the history of the quant. It moved to a strong buy. What changed? The revisions. See it in the right-hand side here? The revisions. Once they reported earnings, boom, everybody revised upward. It's number 2 out of 38. Now, what does Wall Street think that it's worth? Let's go over here. There's 23 analysts that cover this. They think it's worth 252, 14% upside. And they are reiterating that through earnings right now. So that's how you use Seeking Alpha Premium to look at this. And boy, you want to know what the number one is? Catapult Holdings, CPLT. It's not in the same league. Okay, this is a $96 million market cap. Capital One Financial, they have a $141 billion market cap. It's going to be slightly more stable than Catapult. But let's go and look at TrendSpider. Let's see, again, that's how you use Seeking Alpha. Let's blend in a chart. The 4-hour algorithm doesn't do great. It makes you 65%. Okay, 65%. Buying and holding this stock makes you 117%. So I'd want to look at it and I'd say, okay, I want to buy and hold this one. It makes you 65%. So even if this one goes down and you get scared, again, 65% beats the S&P over the last 2 years. So I think, again, the decision is simple for me. I'm adding it to a watch list. That's it. And I'm going to take a look at it. And I added it to the Daily Stock Pick watch list. Now, the decision for me, where is my money best placed? I decided watch list. I decided I'm not going to take the buy. Even at 222, it tells me to get in. I'm going to take the watch list. Why? Because it's run a little bit on the weekly. Maybe it's got a little bit more downside. But again, I trust Stephanie Link. So I like it. I moved it to the watch list and I'll look at it later. That's how you use the tools. And if you want TrendSpider, you want the 4-hour algorithm, that is on Linktree as well. It's very simple, $50 a month. Sign up for the annual plan and you get my 4-hour algorithm. You get the watch list, you get the custom indicators, all that stuff. But that's how you do it. The biggest movers of the day. We can go over how Rapport Therapeutics is up 25%, how AppLovin is up 7%. There is one that I want to focus on, okay? It's Our, Hour. Stock surged in pre-market trading on Monday, extending their rally from Friday. This is going to blow your mind. Stock had experienced a significant, making it a top gainer in the NASDAQ on Friday. The surge was not supported by any press release or company news. The price increase was attributed to high volume meme-like trading. Here's your latest meme. It was up 93% on Friday. It is up 47% today. It's meme-like trading. Here's your new meme. So if you want to know how to trade this one, go and understand how to look at charts. This one, would I buy and hold this one? Absolutely not. It's got a $128 million market cap. The Waffle House down the street makes more revenue in a week with plates being thrown. Again, $128 million market cap. That is some people's 401k. It is not one that I would actually own. It is a meme stop. So let's look at some other opportunities. Uber, which I haven't talked about in a while, which I still continue to think is a $100 stock. It is at $91. It dipped down on Friday to $88. Anything under $90, great buy. 4-hour algorithm doesn't have you in, doesn't beat buy and hold. So if you're looking for an entry, put it on a watch list. I will tell you, I was talking with TrendSpider guys on Friday, and it was over the S&P adding. We were saying, well, this stock is going to add, this stock is going to add, this one's going to add. Sidekick, okay? The TrendSpider guys have played with this a lot, and it gives you automatic prompts here of what you want to do, okay? We can probably ask it a bunch of questions, but I wanted to point out the TrendSpider guys are saying Claude 4 is the best if you're going to use one, okay? There is Karen the Skeptics. There's different types of things. Try it, play it out with it. If you're a TrendSpider subscriber, you get 10 questions per month free, and then you have to pay for it. Try it out. At least use your 10 if you're a subscriber. That's what I want to make sure that everybody knows. So let's go over the weekly plan. Okay, this is the Catalyst Watch. This is another benefit of seeking alpha premium. This puts your days and puts your plans into work. You can see everything that is happening. Okay, it's not going to tell you, hour is going to be up 40%, but it's going to give you some volatility stuff that you can trade. It's going to tell you that today Klarna Group is expected to price its IPO. That's a huge one. This is the competitor to Affirm. That's going to be an enormous IPO. Okay, so let's look at the plan. The big plan this week, by the way, is that PPI on Wednesday and CPI on Thursday. That's inflation. And that is going to affect the market just like we saw the job stuff last week. And so if we look at the 5-minute chart of last week, let me just turn on after hours right there. If we look at this, you can see the jobs numbers came out as bad. Bad news was good news. The market rallied and said, ooh, we're going to get rate cuts. And then kind of, it's like when you wake up from a blackout drunk and you realize, oh my God, I'm not in my house. Oh shit, what happened? Well, again, falls right down. Why? Because rate cuts happen when the economy is weak. And Jerome Powell pointed it out in his speech at Jackson Hole. We've got a weak jobs market. Well, what happens this Wednesday if inflation starts going on the rise? Probably the same thing. They're going to rally. Ooh, we get rate cuts. Oh my God, I'm blackout drunk. I don't know where I woke up. Boom, the market realizes it. But we are in a buy the dip market. So those are the two big things. PPI comes out on Wednesday morning. CPI. So PPI is the producer price index. That's the cost of goods that are sold to you. CPI is the price that they charge you. That's the consumer price index. I am not an economist. I just put the hat on every now and then. But those two things are going to be big. Understand, they will move the markets. Now, what else is going to move the markets? Well, we've got the iPhone launch this week. And there's news, they're going to launch an iPhone Air, which could push Apple a little higher. Again, we're at 240. I've gone over this, and I went over it last week. It's an expensive stock. Understand what you hold. I do. It's 30 times forward earnings. They have comparable sales that they're going to need to improve on. Does the iPhone 17 do that? Well, Maybe we get a bump when they announce some new stuff. Klarna, KLAR, huge IPO. We've also got Oracle earnings. Okay, we've got Oracle earnings tomorrow with GameStop. You've got a bunch. Catalyst Watch goes over all of it. What to expect. Oracle is a huge earnings report. I like this company. I've liked it since 60. I wish I was in it. You've got to buy in the 4-hour algorithm at $232. It beats buy and hold by about 30%. 22 positions over 24 months. This is telling you, hey, get in there. If I were looking at this, I would be putting the stop loss at about $200. I'd be buying at 232 saying, okay, I'm going to lose about 10, 15% if I go down to $200. But if it gets down under there, my ass is buying. I'm not buying before earnings because I don't like it. Where did I get to $200? Boom. A previous resistance level where we pulled back from in November. Now, it hasn't really used it as support, but it's the best opportunity I can get. Yes, the MACD is extended. Yes, the RSI is extended. But if you get good earnings, expect this one to move. GameStop. Options are pricing in. Get this. A double-digit move on their earnings. Now, 4-hour algorithm does not work whatsoever. Find a strategy that works. Maybe it's the 65 minutes. Let's just take a look at it. 65 minute? No. Maybe it's the 1-hour stock battle one. Let's take a look at the 1-hour stock battle one. Matt, doesn't work. So I don't have a strategy that works for GameStop. So am I trading it? I would be watching the charts. But it's pricing in a double-digit move. How much Bitcoin did GameStop buy? Again, GameStop has a ton of cash on the books. It's a strong sell from Wall Street. It's a hold from the quant. There's only one analyst that covers this. And I guarantee you, look, they rated this one when it was $30 on 6.9. Okay, you can go and look at some of the Seeking Alpha analysts. They say it's a hold. And you can read the articles. Excuse me. I don't like GameStop. I'm probably not going to trade GameStop. Full disclosure, I just thought the Catalyst Watch brought it up that they're going to be a double-digit move. So I liked it. Now let's talk about this. 16 top AI-related stocks to own heading into the year end. These are 16 stocks that Wedbush believes you should own. Palantir, MongoDB, NVIDIA, AMD, Meta, PanW. PanW I love. But PanW, by the way, going into year end, this one is pushing up to 200. What have we seen it do when it pushed to 200? Well, that 188 has been the buy level. When we've seen it push to 200, I'll just put this one right at the top right here. 204. Look at that. You've seen it pull back. So the range is between 188 and 204. If you're going to buy at 195, just understand that 200 may provide you some resistance. But until it provides some support, it's resistance. So again, 16 AI related stocks. I own a bunch of them. CrowdStrike, I own a bunch. Microsoft, Google. So do you like any of these? Now, I will tell you, this was a big thing, okay? Trump announced that, hey, you can put Bitcoin, you can put alternative assets into your 401k, blah, blah, blah. He signed that thing. I was shocked at this. This is a Seeking Alpha roundtable. In a recent Seeking Alpha poll, of 1,500 readers. Okay, understand, this is a Seeking Alpha poll of 1,500 readers. They go out and they say, should 401ks be allowed to have Bitcoin? Understand, Seeking Alpha readers have risk tolerance that is higher than the normal public because they are researching single stocks. They are saying, hey, I want to own single stocks instead of just the index. I want to do this without a financial advisor. I don't want somebody having control of my money. So again, you have a higher risk tolerance than the general public. I was shocked that only 27% said they hold crypto assets. 73% said they don't. 68% were against it being in 401ks. 32% were supportive. That is super low. I will tell you, risk reward. I think crypto has a big reward if you take the risk. Will you have to sit through a 50% downturn? Yes, I have. Will you have to sit through, oh my God, I just lost like 2% of my entire portfolio? Yes, I have. It's risk reward. Crypto stocks, the only two that I own are Bitcoin and Ethereum. That's it. I own IBIT and ETHA. That's it. I do own Coinbase. I own IREN, and I own other crypto asset like stocks. But I am perfectly fine holding and adding to those. My strategy, simple. IBIT, I add when the 4-hour algorithm tells me to buy. And FYI, it told me to buy at 63. Where are we? 63. So am I okay with it? Yeah. But this poll was shocking to me. And again, if you want some of these things, they go over all of these things. There's a couple of analysts that go over exactly what their strategy is, and you can read all about it right there. Now, again, earnings this week, Adobe, Restoration Hardware. Restoration Hardware should be interesting. Chewy is a stock that has been crazy this year. So have your plan available. Now, some scans. There were too many scans to actually go over. Cleveland Cliffs told you, hey, on Friday, it told you we're going for a run. This one was up crazy on Thursday, up like 7-8%. FBCG, which is a ETF, Fidelity Blue Chip, which I have in the core portfolio. This one gives you a buy at 51.96. Is it a buy? Well, so far the 4-hour algorithm has just been basically keeping up with buy and hold. Another one, Simon Property Group, which, by the way, is a sell in the quant. Would I be buying at 181? No, I didn't buy it at 169. I like this one for its dividend, but it is a strong sell. I think it's still a strong sell. Well, it moved to a hold. You can see it moved to a hold at 178. Why? What changed? It's the revisions. It's the revisions. The revisions went from a C plus to a B minus. So it changed from a sell to this one. They're revising it up. Now, is this year to date? This one's only up 5%. But you've gotten a 4.72% dividend yield. What's another one in the core portfolio that just gave a buy? Tesla, 350. You're trading at 355. I like the range between 300 and 400. So I'm buying anytime that the 4-hour algorithm is telling me to buy. Why? Because it beats buy and hold, not by a lot, 49% versus 47%. This used to extremely outperform. But as we've moved sideways on a weekly chart, you can see as we've moved sideways, the 4-hour algorithm just kind of gets you in and gets you out at optimal time. Do I want the 4-hour algorithm? Absolutely, because I want to protect myself from the downside. The average win is 16% on this one. So I like it. VOO just gave you a buy in the 4-hour algorithm. Okay, 592, but it's telling you, hey, at 596, I think we're going for another run. And then there's XLK, XLY, XLP, ALAB, Abercrombie & Finch. You can get all this in the newsletter for free. The newsletter during the week is 100% for free. And you can scroll down at the bottom. This particular newsletter doesn't have it because it was Friday. I don't do scans on Fridays. But there will be a scan section down at the bottom, and you'll see all the names. There is a large list of names. There's too many to list. I list leveraged ETFs. I list low-cost ETFs. All of these things, you can go and use whichever charting program you want. But if you have the 4-hour algorithm, again, these are ones that this morning triggered a buy signal in the 4-hour algorithm. So if you have any questions, use Linktree, linktr.ee. Okay, my email address is right up here. You can also reply to the email that you get with the newsletter. But use these links to go and investigate. You should have a charting program. You should have a fundamental program, whatever you want to use. Just make sure you have a plan. And to bring this home, again, if you didn't get into Robinhood and you've been listening to me for a while, if you're not in AppLovin and you've been listening to me for a while, a couple of options. But the key is to make sure if you regret it now, go and journal about it, because the best opportunity you have is to journal and learn from the mistakes that you make. I just found a stock certificate that I'd love to show, but it's out of reach right now. From 1996 in Lucent Technologies, okay? 1990, an actual physical stock certificate that I have that I don't even know if it's worth anything because Lucent isn't out there anymore, but it's got my name on it. So I didn't realize I had this in my records. I was looking for my social security card. I found this stock certificate. It's literally sitting in a drawer. So I know I've been trading since 1996. So if you haven't, I think I have some type of ability to know what's going on. And I would tell you, get a charting program like TrendSpider, get a fundamental program like Seeking Alpha, and get a portfolio like Alpha Picks that outperforms the S&P. And again, heading into rate cuts, small caps, which a large majority of the Alpha Picks are, small caps typically outperform. So if you have any questions, hit me up. Okay, take care. See you.
Every morning I wake up to the sound of the trading bell.